I call the Honourable the Minister for Agriculture.
Well, Madam President, I thank the honourable member for his question. And it's great hearing from someone from St George, obviously. We both have an association with St George. He's in Sydney and mine in Western Queensland. But it's also great to hear from someone from an urban electorate who has real concern that we have the proper controls over the application for the purchase of Australian land. We all know that the very centre, the very essence of what we are as a nation is the land we stand on. And there's so much that we have to do to make sure that we respect that. We must make sure that there's a real pride in the ownership of that land. We must make sure that there's a real dignity in the return people get off that land. And we must make sure that there's real diligence in the management. And it's in diligence in the management which this side, Madam Speaker, has shown that we have listened to the Australian people. The Australian people, whether that's in Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane, want to make sure that there are better controls, a better oversight on the purchase of our most precious asset, our land. And that is why we listened to the Australian people, and when they asked for the changes, we gave them the changes, moving it down from $252 million down to 15. But, Madam Speaker, there is an alternate policy. It is good when the Labor Party come up with a policy, and they have an alternate policy. They're not going to move it down, Madam Speaker. They're going to move it up to $1,000 million. $1,000 million. And this has not gone over very well. This has not gone over very well. Even in the city, in Sydney, people are congratulating us that we have done what they asked for, that we have taken the steps for proper control.
The member for Hunter will
desist. And this is in complete odds to a policy of the Australian Labor Party, which now stands by their promise of Senator Wong and the Shadow Minister for Agriculture
the
to
member
move
for
the limit
Hunter
up to $1 billion so that someone could purchase at $500 an acre a property more than 3 times the size of the Australian Capital Territory and not have to go before the Foreign Investment Review Board. Now that's an absurdity. It's just a total and utter absurdity. But I'm glad that we now have something to talk about in agriculture. It's the only policy they've got. It's the only policy they've got, that they're going to fix up the debt by selling off the whole joint. That is how they're going to do it. That is how they're going to do it. And I'm looking forward to them proudly standing behind that policy at every opportunity. But not one of them have gone out. It's dead silence. It's dead silence behind their policy of having a $1 billion limit before any person has to go to the Foreign Investment Review Board over the sale of Australia's most fundamental asset, our land. And maybe the Leader of the Opposition will stand up today and stand behind his party's policy. Why the silence? Is there something that you're ashamed of?